Matt Oppenheim is a fellow of the Society for Applied Anthropology and an author of journal articles, book chapters, and magazine articles on educational innovation, diversity, watersheds, ecological communities. He has an MA in Applied Anthropology and a PhD in Transformative Learning and Change. He is a transformative anthropologist, having assisted transformative community processes with the Maya in Guatemala, in public education, and many nonprofits. And he has taught anthropology at several universities. His passion for watershed research and action began in 1991, first researching the Murray-Darling watershed of Australia, and then becoming a watershed educator in California. He was the founder of an ecological primary school in Australia and is the author of To Color a Warrior, an ecological adventure novel. Currently, he is the director of the Blue Ridge Watershed Institute, an emerging watershed based upon based educational project in the Upper French Broad Watershed in Western North Carolina. Matt Oppenheim, welcome to the System Change Alliance conference once again.
Roar kind of woke me up at 10:30 last night. And it took a while to get my thoughts together. And he posed this question about sacred place. How can we communicate? How can we experience? And also, how can we use a sacred place to work with socioeconomic regions? And my mind started digesting the idea. And so these ideas popped up and became my slide presentation. So I hope you'll enjoy it. I plan on us kind of stimulating a lot of, feeling and experiences from your own life that will lead to a discussion about how we fuse the sacred with our local economy, that they're all it's part of the same system of protecting our aspirations and our spirituality. So let me share my screen. And it means so much to us if you show us what you look like. If you show yourself on the screen, you can see the actual people behind, behind the screen. But I know there's reasons not to. You might be cooking lunch or anything. So share my screen. Let me enhance that. How does that look? Can you guys see my screen sharing? Carolyn, do you have to do something?
No, everything's working.
Okay, all right. Okay, so let's begin sacred with the origins of the universe. This is a typical galaxy. And I'm going to first argue that the sacred that we get in touch with pervades everything, pervades all of the universe, pervades all of consciousness. And it's actually a paradigm that we see traveling through nature, through our human evolution, through our human biological evolution, and into our communities. It's the same paradigm that started the universe that inspires us inside and our work with other people. So on the left, we have a galaxy. We can see in the middle this bright nucleus, sending radiating all of its power, energy out to the periphery. And both are interdependent, the nucleus and the periphery. On the right, we see a spider's web. And the same emanation, pervades all of nature. So we see the nucleus of the spider's web where the spider kind of hangs out and eats its prey and goes hunting and moves out to the periphery where it catches flies that are trapped in the web or maybe a cricket if they're really lucky, and brings it back to the center. All biological entities, including human beings, rely on the center periphery concept. It's very basic. You'll understand it right away. With human beings, we have our homes, our houses, which is our center, right? Our sacred center. And then during our day, we go and travel out to the periphery to collect our paycheck, get food, see our friends, everything. So this is a real essence of life throughout the universe and leads to sacred economics, which I'll explain in just a minute. So I challenge you to think, it is a very big theory with all biologists, evolutionary biologists, that applies to just about anything. When an ant leaves its ant mound, it goes out, collects things, and brings it back to the ant colony. I challenge you to think of any entity that doesn't have this paradigm, right? Right. And human beings are certainly the same paradigm. Whoops. So it also resonates with sacred geometry, which I think you're all aware of, the Fibonacci sequence, in which we see the same paradigm radiating from the nucleus to the periphery, right? We see it everywhere. We see it in everything that is alive, and in many things that have been created. So this is for me the essence is that we have the center, the nucleus, and then the periphery that supports it. Now I'm going to show you a painting from Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania. Many of you may not remember the Leakey family back in the 70s, who were really eager to discover human origins in Africa. They really wanted to prove it, that humans originated in Africa. So they found some Australopithecine, that's our ancient ancestors' bones, in this place called Olduvai Gorge. Well, the place that you are looking at is not just a imagined painting. It's a detailed depiction of a space at Olduvai Gorge, and that all these fossils were preserved because of volcanic ash, something like Pompeii, right? This ash fell over this huge habitat area. And when they dug through, they found these fossils of all these animals and then our ancestors. And what we're seeing here is the creation of the center periphery concept in our human biological evolution. Okay, so the center is on the right. It's the old growth forest where people stay and sleep. A lot of early human beings slept in trees, and they eat there and they take care of their young. So that would be the center. And then they reach out to the periphery for their survival. They have a water source, animals and plants around the water source, and they do their hunting along the plains. And again, this picture was painted from archaeological evidence. So we see even in the beginnings of our own evolution, our sociobiological evolution, that we radiate this center periphery concept. Here is a dear friend of mine. He's a shaman that I worked with and lived with in Guatemala. In Kachikil language, the name of the shaman is Ajiish. That's the best I can pronounce it. Ajiish. Okay, I'm not doing it perfectly. His name is Domingo Solis. And you are seeing him start a Mayan blessing ceremony above ancient Lago Atitlan, Lake Atitlan, which is three volcanoes, three volcanic mountains centered in this lake, and about 25 villages that radiate around the lake. So I went on adventures with him to different sacred sites to do different blessing ceremonies. And what he told me, he said, look up into these mountains, and you will see that there's a web of sacred caves around the mountain. That if you actually could see at night their fires burning, you'd see this huge web of sacred sites They're bringing a creator to this whole ecology system.